I think it is the most miserable time of the year. I am not built for cold weather. When friends ask me to go snow skiing, I tell them to go fuck themselves. I was born.
Well, that's a reasonable response to that
Exactly.
question.
It is. It absolutely is. Hey everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're the Midlife Guys. So it is the middle of February 2026. It is cold, it is dreary, and huge portions of Canada, the United States, and Europe are facing one of the harshest winters in years with record snow and ice totals.
Not a
What
fan.
is this? Not a fan. So what does this have to do with our show? Well, according to the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, and other medical research institutions, seasonal affective disorder starts really impacting people in their midlife stage. So for those who may not know, seasonal affective disorder is depression. Research shows that while anyone can suffer from this disorder, it is common to start around the age of 35 and really increases in your 40s. Common symptoms include persistent irritability, fatigue, and decreased libido. Unfortunately, tens of millions of midlifers across the globe suffer from seasonal affective disorder. There are a number of reasons why, but researchers believe that it's the unique challenges that midlifers face, from raising a family to the work-life balance, et cetera, et cetera. That's one of the biggest reasons why it occurs. So from a personal perspective, I remember being in elementary school and having several friends of mine tell me that their moms or dads were suffering from the winter blues. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant at all. But I would be over at these friends' houses, and you could tell that their parents, either their mom or their dad, just wasn't really there. I now have a much clearer understanding and appreciation for the depression that they were undergoing because of the winter months. I personally hate the winter. I think it is the most miserable time of the year. I am not built for cold weather. When friends ask me to go snow skiing, I tell them to go fuck themselves. I was born.
Well, that's a reasonable response to that
Exactly.
question.
It is. It absolutely is. I am built for the beach and sunny weather, but that's just me. When I am here in the U.S. In January and February, I am tired. I try to fight that by exercising, staying busy with friends and family, eating well, and taking supplements that include vitamin D. But given the fact that midlife men and women are among the most susceptible to seasonal affective disorder, I started thinking about what those of us in middle age can do and should do in order to boost our moods and relax so that we don't get the winter blues. So, what I've found during my research is that Gen X and older millennials have taken a very unique approach to getting in a better mental space during the winter months. So, Andrew, are you ready to find out and discuss ways that you could boost your mood and relax during these shitty winter months?
I am. I'm always for finding ways to boost my mood. I would say, like you, I am not a winter person. I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and so we had like pretty decent winters every year, and live in Virginia now. And one of the things that I would sometimes joke about is like one of the reasons I like to live here is because we're not supposed to have bad winters, and this winter has been a doozy for us. So I hear you on not loving winter. And for those who are watching this, you can probably, I feel more pale than usual, which is quite something. I'm also more tired than I think I usually am. I think like the winter is definitely, hitting me. And it's funny, even in the past, like couple weeks, I've caught myself like feeling just grouchier and like, just kind of a bit more grumpy. So I think the whole winter effect is a real thing. So I want to talk about how we can address that.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a particularly harsh winter. You and I both had to go through Miami recently, and It was in the 40s in Miami, which is
It's very
something else.
cold for
So
that. Yeah.
it is a very harsh winter this year.
For most
So
people, yeah.
it's awful. So the first thing is let there be light. A recent Forbes article highlighted that one of the ways that Gen X and older millennials are fighting back against seasonal affective disorder is light therapy. Light therapy has been around since the 1980s, but has only become accessible in the past about 5 years due to these in home light boxes that are easy to travel with, easy to set up. And red light therapy masks have really taken off over the past couple of years, which have benefits of boosting serotonin and helping with skin conditions. Um, Interestingly enough, that's what you said. Gen X and older millennials are the biggest consumers of these
Yeah.
devices. Um, Now, the question is, are they buying them because they want to reduce wrinkles and fine lines in their faces? That is the question that the Mayo Clinic has proposed, but does not have an answer for yet. They outlined the fact that these devices were built originally for skin conditions, um, but they do, in fact, help with seasonal affective disorder. Another factor that our generation is just doing is getting outside more, even when it's freezing cold, freezing fucking cold. A large study from 2022 was conducted in Great Britain and published in the Journal of Affective Disorders. He studied 500,000 men and women between 37 and 73 years old, and it definitively showed the time spent outdoors, especially during the winter months, improved mental health and sleep. But what do our listeners think? Are you getting enough light during the winter months to boost your mood? Andrew, are you getting enough light?
I don't know. Well, I have a question for you because I feel like you are a go-to wellness person. You have a whole like regime for all sorts of things, and like I feel
Sure.
like you take good care of yourself. Have you ever used the light mask or done light therapy?
I have not. I am
Oh, you haven't?
intrigued.
Okay.
I am intrigued, but I have
Yeah, I haven't done
not.
it either. I kind of part of me, like the pessimistic part of me, wonders if it actually works or not. Like, is it with the efficacy of it? But I don't know. I'd be curious if folks have tried it and you think it works. Let us know. I'd be, I guess, interested. But I've never done that before, so I can't really speak to the light therapy. But I can definitely resonate with the being outside because I do think that really does help. At least in my experience, it helps my mood and my energy level when I can get outside. Especially if the sun is out. I feel like those dark, dreary winter days is kind of harder to do it. But the UK study you mentioned really like that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think about myself, when I can get outside, even if it's cold and I have to get bundled up but get some sunshine, that definitely makes me feel better. And something I like to do is go for outdoor runs. Well, when the weather's nice, like I can't do it in the winter. I see some people running in like 20, 30-degree weather. I'm just like, I don't know how you do that. I just could not handle it. But if I can't go for a run, what I'll do instead is try to either take the dog for a little bit of a longer walk if it's not like crazy cold, or maybe just myself go for like a 10 or 15-minute walk. And that really does make me feel better after being outdoors and getting some exposure to nature and to the sun if it's out. So I heartily endorse the nature stuff. That has definitely worked for me. But how about you, Mike? Have you tried any of that, or I guess other
I,
things?
I have, as I said, I have not tried the light therapy
Yeah,
mask.
sure.
I definitely need to, because as I'm looking at myself, I see all the wrinkles and fine lines that are
It's
appearing
called
on
getting
my face
older. It's what
as I get
happens.
older. And I bet you I can, but like red light therapy would just wipe it all out. I know a lot of people that have purchased these devices
Oh yeah, who
and they
use
say
them?
it really does help with their
Okay.
skin.
Yeah.
And it also helps with seasonal affective disorder. They feel like they just have boosted energy after using these masks for like 10 or 20 minutes. So,
Huh.
um, you know, I don't know. I mean, I trust my friends. I don't know, but I will say these companies have definitely locked up the online social media influencers because it can't even get online and there's somebody trying to hawk one of these masks.
For something,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but
Aren't there like
um,
spas that do this too or something? You can go to places and like get like red light therapies or something, right? Is that
There
thing?
are, there
Yeah.
are, and I was curious myself, and
Hmm.
so I did, like, a Google Maps search,
Okay, yeah.
to find out how many of these spas with red light therapy, um, were in the area. Um, it was wild. It was wild. I mean,
Yeah.
there have to be at least a dozen of them within just a 10-mile radius. I also checked appointment times for these places. God damn, you're looking at least a week wait.
Really? Oh,
But
wow. Yeah.
so I was thinking, oh man, maybe this does work. And because we've had such a harsh winter, everybody's running to these spas to like boost their mood. So clearly, the economics of this is working well, and people are turning to light therapy as a way to boost their mood and get clearer skin without wrinkles and fine lines like me. You know, uh, as for the outdoor side of things, my dog is crazy as fuck. He likes being outside,
It's
even when
true.
it's like 5 degrees outside. He likes to be outside. He wants to play. So I spend a lot of time in the sun if it's not cloudy, um, as
Yeah.
much as possible because of him. Um, so I'm getting a lot of sunlight, always getting a lot of sunlight. But I do think it's interesting that the red light therapy thing and these technologies are really helping to address um,
Yeah.
this issue.
You know what I think we should do is I think you should take one for the team and go try out one of these things and let us know what you think. Do some research for the podcast.
Maybe
We can
Yeah,
I would
live
be open
stream
to
it.
that.
We'll do a
you can
live
live
stream
stream
special
it.
broadcast. Live from whatever random place Mike walked into and threw $50 at.
Yeah, I wonder how
It's-
expensive it is too. It's
Oh, it ranged in price.
it did a lot. I bet it
But I
does
mean,
with
some
everything.
of these
Yeah.
places that I found on Google Maps, like some of them were like, mm, yeah, I'm not going in there, and some of them were very like reputable, nice spas. But I was just like,
Like, yeah, no.
so I will.
So there you
You know
go.
what? I will give it a shot. I will give
All
it a
right.
shot.
You have to report back. I want to hear.
So let me talk about the second thing that midlifers are doing, and I think this is really cool. So whereas technologies have been helping midlifers boost their mood in the winter, um, some technologies at least, more and more Gen X and older millennials are getting back to something that's been around forever: team sports. 40
Nice.
plus team sports leagues have taken off since COVID as more and more people wanted to blend staying fit with socialization. In 2020, only 10% of adults in the US over 40 played on some sort of recreational team. In just 5 years, that number has doubled to 20%. It is expected to grow another 4% here in 2026. Winter recreational team sports are the primary driver, and this includes basketball, indoor volleyball, indoor soccer, and others. Localities like cities and counties were the big driver in organizing these leagues, but more and more private groups have started springing up as the demand has increased. Older millennials and Generation X point to these recreational team sports as helping them fulfill some of their goals, including staying healthy and meeting new people. They also point to the fact that these leagues help them get out of the house during those dark, shitty days of the winter, which is helping them boost their mental well being. So, a sporting trade publication did a survey of Americans over 40 who were participating in these leagues, and it found that the ease of entry into those leagues um, was a huge driver. And it was because there's a lack of judgment. Let's face it, when you're over 40, you are not as fast, you are not
No.
as in good a shape as you
Nope.
were in your 20s. Men and women do not want to be judged in these recreational leagues. They want to make new friends and they want to enjoy the sport that they're playing.
Yep.
So that is exactly what these adult leagues do. And I love that. The second thing that the survey pointed out was the low cost of entry. Some of them are free. Some of them you can join for just $20 for a season. I think that's fantastic. Yet again, it goes back to cities and counties that are the ones that are usually organizing this thing. So what about you, Andrew? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
I love this too. I think sports leagues are great. And if I'm being honest, I was more active in sports leagues in my 20s and 30s and less so recently. But we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You and I were kind of talking about this topic. And I was just kind of inspired me to like look at getting back involved. I often like timing wise, it's hard. I think about schedules and kids and whatnot, but hopefully it wouldn't be that hard for you like, a once a week type of a thing. I think could be really fun, especially I think during winter doing indoor type of activities are good. I used to do an indoor soccer league. That was fun during the winter and kind of got you out of the house, and the socializing aspect of it I thought was important. And that's what I love about we call it the judgment free leagues. I think about it more as just like a social league, right? Like no one's really being that terribly competitive. You're actually doing what we tell our kids to do, which is just like have fun and enjoy yourself. And like that's the primary goal of it. And as we talked about in previous episodes too, I mean, there seems to be a lack of opportunities for social interaction anymore, or it's like hard for different types of people to kind of meet each other. But I think these sports leagues are a great venue for that, or an opportunity if you want to kind of meet new people or make new friends. It feels like a really easy way to do it, and a fun way to do it. It just, for me at least, it's the scheduling, which I'm going to try to figure out and work out. But I guess in my defense too, is I was thinking about, indoor activities. It was reminding me of something we talked about a couple weeks ago when we talked about mentorship and coaching. And I just this week finished up coaching my son's basketball. Well, I was an assistant coach, to be fair, of my son's basketball team. And just the coaching, there were a lot of like really great benefits from that. Like the other coach and I became friends, which is nice. Somebody I probably wouldn't have met otherwise. I'll also say, after having done that for a couple of months, like running the practices with them, they're exhausting. I felt like I got a workout each time I was there, like doing drills. I had to chase them up and down the court or show them how to do something. So another way for people to maybe think about, I think sports leagues are great and probably the best, but if you got kids, thinking about coaching is a good way to stay active. You can do something indoors as well. So I'll just throw that out there too.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I would say at least half of my friend group participates in one of these adult recreational
Yeah.
sports league. They're doing it through the Y, they're doing it through the JCC, or they're doing it through the city or the county. They love it. They love meeting the new people. And it gets them out of the house for at least an hour a week. And a lot of these friends are parents, and what they absolutely get a fucking kick out of bringing their kids to these like basketball games
Oh
or
yeah.
these indoor soccer games. And little role reversal here where they're usually the ones cheering on their kids for these leagues.
Hmm.
Their kids are the ones sitting there cheering them on, which I think is so cool. So I think this is a incredibly amazing trend. I love that this is happening, because I do think it it is a unique way, that midlifers are really trying to make new friends. They're trying to make something into a family activity by bringing significant other kids to
Yeah.
it. Um, Leaving judgment completely out of the equation here. We can leave judgment to the professional leagues. For the rest of us, these recreational leagues are just a great way to bring people together and fight winter depression and just have fun. But what do our listeners think? Do you participate in one of these recreational sports leagues during the winter months? Would you like to? Are you inspired? I actually am inspired too. So I started doing some research
Oh yeah.
last night as
Nice.
well. Yes. It is, it's mid February, as I said at the top. So a lot of these things have already started and kind of winding up. So
Well, there's spring leagues maybe you can look at too, right? Or we can look at not just the winter
the
ones.
fucking
But
sun
if
comes out in the spring. I could
well,
just
you
be
can.
outside.
There's still the socialization part of it that could be
That's right.
useful.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
But I
So
would love to hear if other people do them or what leagues you do, or if there's like maybe a new sport that you've tried that was kind of fun. Because I feel like, I've done baseball, basketball, soccer, but maybe there's something else that's kind of fun to give a shot.
yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for the third one?
Sure. Let's keep going. So far, you're 2
Let's
for 2. I'm very in favor of these suggestions. So see if we
That's
can make
great.
it 3
That's
for
great.
3.
Hopefully I'm inspiring our audience as well to make all of these changes. Um, this is the finale. One of the more unique ways that we're doing this is we're creating a home-like spa environment. So in other words, we're playing soft music. We're relying more on candles or downlighting. We're adding blankets, tons of blankets to the home, and using diffusers that smells of lavender, and the list goes on and on and on. They're trying to create spaces for relaxation and comfort. Again, it can be a little harder when you have kids, but a lot of these things are things that kids like too. We
That's
discussed this
true.
yesterday too, Andrew.
Yeah.
It's like kids love blankets. They love lots of blankets. I don't know why.
I mean, my boys like being comfortable in really any way, shape, or form. And I feel like a lot of kids are that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, and I look at your two boys and think about the fact that, you'll have like a scented candle on the fireplace, fire going, they'll be wrapped up in their blankets, reading their books and stuff like that. I mean, that seems pretty fucking spa-like to me. So,
I mean,
this is, it's this, I think it's, why not be comfortable? It's your house. So, but yeah, I will say this is not like a trend that is unique. It is unique to the US, but it's definitely borrowed from Nordic countries who've been doing this for decades and probably centuries. So if you go to like Norway or Sweden and Finland, almost all of those people like remake their homes during the winter months to make them more comfortable, more cozy. Now it's much fucking worse winter way up there, but we just borrowed it and brought it down here. So, all right, Andrew, fire away. What are your thoughts about the home spa like environment?
that's kind of interesting. I'm curious too, when you were looking this stuff up, were you saying like this is something like millennials and midlifers doing more, or is this kind of across the board? I was more unique to like, yeah.
So it started with Gen X, and it's kind
Okay.
of crept down. It's not something that
Gotcha.
like older generations have been doing,
Isn't as much, yeah.
but Generation X, like really, you saw this big consumer bump with things like the candles and the diffusers and stuff like that, and it's just echoed down
Continuing down
to
like
younger
yeah.
generations. Yes.
No, I mean, it kind of, it makes sense. You had, you were talking about this and sort of, I was trying to think about, I was like, oh, that sounds like that would be nice to do. And then I was thinking about it more. I'm like, well, we kind of sort of do that a little bit without realizing it and maybe not being intentional about it. Although now I'm going to try to be more intentional about it. But like you said, I know in like the late fall or early winter, my wife and I are pulling out all sorts of extra blankets to have around just because it can get kind of chilly and have them close by. And one of my favorite things to do in the winter is we have a fireplace. It's a wood burning fireplace in our house. We also have a nice fire pit outside. And so I love like building a fire and just sitting by the fire. I think that can be very relaxing and just kind of a nice way to sort of reset. And so like just, yeah, having a fire going, if it's later in the afternoon or evening, maybe turn on some like chill music or jazz or something. Sometimes I'll have a drink and just sit there and like enjoy it. It's a really nice way to kind of, to just sort of take it easy, I guess, or re-energize or a little bit. And you're right. It's funny that sometimes it'll start with my wife and me in the living room because that's where our fireplace is. Just kind of we're sitting there enjoying the fire, and then the kids will like slowly migrate up with like a blanket and will like lay down by the fire or want to just hang out there too, which is kind of nice. So again, you're 3 for 3. I'm all for this trend as well, about creating sort of nice, relaxing environments during the winter because I sure don't want to go outside a lot of the time. So try to make it nice and comfy inside. And I don't know what it is, but there is just something about having a nice fire going that just makes me feel better.
100% agree with you on the fire. Love a good fireplace. Love a good fire pit.
Yeah, fire pits also are great.
Although there's nothing that says that you can have a fire pit like all year long, especially during the summer months for s'mores.
But there is something about if it's cold outside and you're by a fire pit and get like the warmth up from it, there's like, I don't know. That's a nice feeling.
That's true for our listeners. Andrew fired up his fire pit on New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Or New Year's Day. I don't know. It was one. Yeah.
Whoa, which one? New Year's Day. Yes.
The day, whatever it was. Yeah.
And we drank bourbon around the fire
It was
pit.
nice. Yeah.
It was very nice while the kids had juice boxes. So A very relaxing environment.
Maybe some bourbon. They slept really well that night. I don't know if I'm kidding. They did not confirm it. They had their juice box. Yeah.
I do love this idea. I don't think it should be limited to just the winter months. As I said, your home is your home. It should be cozy, comfortable, safe all year long. But I love this. I love this especially during the winter, just because you can really get comfortable. It's miserable outside. If you can sit there and wrap yourself in blankets and have some soft music in the background, read a book, have a humidifier too, because it's so fucking dry.
It's true. God, we sound old. It's like it's too dry in here.
Oh, shit, I was just there. Especially over the weekend, or it's like on Sunday when it was really cold, sitting there, static electricity everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yes, I love this idea. I think, if this is another way that Gen X and millennials are really finding comfort in their home, then I'm all for it. So, go buy that candle, buy that blanket, get snuggled up with your favorite book this winter, and fight those winter blues.
That's right. I want to hear if other people have other ideas too. I feel like my go-to is the fireplace, some blankets, and those are good. Yeah, but if folks have other ideas on how to stay comfortable in the winter, I am all for that as well.
But you also do fire up the scented candles.
We do,
At least
yeah,
your
that's
wife
true.
does,
Put
yeah.
some scented, scented candles. That does help nice set the ambiance too. Just like relax.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys. We've blown through another 30 minutes. If you've not done so already, please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it helps us a lot. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, and all your favorite podcast platforms. And until next week, good luck, guys.
See ya.